What up, Rafa leaders? Welcome back to my channel. This is 6th Street. So 6th Street in Alberttown. You can see from this intersection, 6th Street and Albert Street. You can see Church Street. That's the intersection with Church Street. That's a sleep-in hotel at the intersection of Church Street and Albert Street. Sleep-in hotel and Carnival Casino. They're extending this hotel and casino into this building, which is being built taller. So this is an extension of Sleep-In, right? They're building this extension. I think it's been under construction for the last year or so. Sleep-In hotel and Carnival Casino and Albert Street. So this is 6th Street. It does not continue from Queenstown. In other words, there's no continuation into Queenstown. This street, 6th Street, Alberttown, only exists in Alberttown, and so I'm gonna make a separate video for 6th Street just to show you how the architecture is changing, how the city is changing. 6th Street, Alberttown is also one of those, well, it's narrower than in Queenstown, but residential streets in Georgetown. As you can see, even on this residential street, there is commercial. Right, that's the seafood guy selling seafood here on Saturday morning. This is a bar. But next door to it is a residential home, and this is a new residential home being constructed here on 6th Street in Alberttown. And what you want to notice is that the residential construction from the 1960s is being replaced. So first, it was a first wave of renovation. This took place about 20 years ago, which resulted in these buildings. And then, of course, you know, those 20, 30 years ago, the renovations converted the wooden homes into concrete homes. And now, of course, the new wave of renovations is converting even these homes into much more massive structures, as you will see, because of course 6th Street in Alberttown is in the heart of the city now, and all of these properties, which were once exclusively residential, are now becoming commercial because of course there's a demand for commercial property. This old building at the corner of coming up to Light Street and 6th Street. This used to be the House of Israel. There was a cult operated by Rabbi Edward Washington, and he, I think, claimed to be one of the black Israelites, and he ran a cult out of this building in the 1980s, I think. But of course, these buildings are now going to be snapped up, purchased, and converted into this kind of building, which is a commercial property. Oh, let me see, there's still a sign here. It says House of Israel. Right, this is the headquarters. It's an old sign. House of Israel, the headquarters, and they have their services and so on. So that used to be the cult of the 1980s. I don't know if they still have a lot of members. This is a new building, like I said. A lot of these buildings are being replaced now. This was once an exclusively residential neighborhood, now being replaced by these massive, gargantuan monstrosities. And this is now a new building being constructed on Light Street. Alright, it actually extends what looks like half a city block. We'll take a look at it from another angle in a minute. But this is Light Street looking south to that building. We saw that interesting building. In fact, the guy who claims to have constructed or designed that building, the head of Light Street, contacted me. Hopefully I'll get him on the show to talk about his construction. That's the House of Israel. That's a new building at the corner of 6th Street and Light Street. But what I want to show you is this massive building, this massive monstrosity that's going up here. is what is becoming of our residential neighborhoods in Georgetown. This building is now what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stories tall. 5 stories tall. Like I said, you have to go up very, very high to get square footage, because the lots are small, right? But then of course, if you build a commercial property this size, you need parking. There's no place to park. This is what the typical size of the lot is. This is like half a lot, right? 40 feet, sometimes 20 feet wide. And that, now people are buying up multiple lots and replacing the tiny homes that once occupied those lots with now massive buildings. But also because of the demand for property in the heart of the city, that is commercial property, a lot of these buildings now double as living quarters as well as businesses. So this is what's happening here, guys. These buildings, which were once tiny homes in the 1960s, are being snapped up and converted into commercial or commercial residential property. This is a lot, for example, it's vacant. It's going to be snapped up in a minute. Somebody's going to be building a huge building in there, a tall building, in a minute. But this is what's happening here in 6th Street in Alberttown. It's a short street. It only exists here in Alberttown. It doesn't exist. Morning. It doesn't exist in other parts of the city. Right? This is 6th Street, only in Alberttown. It's a residential street. In the heart of the city, and it's being transformed because, of course, the demand for property means that a lot of the expansion is going to take place in the heart of the city, and a lot of this expansion takes the form of larger, taller buildings, replacing these what were once smaller single-family residential homes. Looking back at 6th Street in Alberttown, one-way street. Now we're on Cumming Street. This is the end of Alberttown. If you want to see more content like this, click like and subscribe. In the comments below, tell me what you think about the changes happening here in Alberttown on 6th Street, and share this video with friends and family around the world. Let people know what's happening here in Georgetown, Guyana. Later!